Okay, this will be a short tutorial on how to develop some yield maps using older AgLeader yield monitors such as AL2000, PF3000, PF Advantage type yield monitoring system. We're going to look at a couple of different ways. If you didn't want to spend any money at all and just start to develop some basic yield maps, we're going to look at this field operations viewer via map shots, and then you'll also need this AgLeader field operations data driver. So if I were to look at that website, when I say if you go to mapshots.com, FODM, field op device drivers, I might have said that wrong. First thing you'll need to install is this field operations viewer, and then you'll also need to download and run this AgLeader field operations device driver as part of that to make it be able to read, and you might have to install this Microsoft Net framework. The other piece of software that can go along with that is the yield editor software, which you have a link to, and we'll show how that ties into if you want to clean the yield data up. And then we'll look at QGIS, which is a free piece of software, a GIS piece of software. I would recommend that you download this version 3.4. If you're running Windows 10, you'll want the 64-bit. If you're running an older version of Windows, you can, such as Windows 7, you can download the 32-bit version of it. Those are two. And then the other way to look at this is to use AgLeader software, the SMS Basic. You can download a trial of that for 30 days. I have concluded that you can use that software to read data and export data. You just can't make any maps with it when it's an unregistered version. It costs currently $895 for the basic version, and then it has a yearly maintenance fee if you want to keep the current version. Currently they're on 19.5, and that's the link to download that. And then you have the link for Yield Editor and QGIS, and then we'll talk about this other tutorial here at the end. So let's go through basic, no cost at all. I'm going to use the field operations viewer. Continue. And then you would say I'm going to do harvest logs. And I've already got it set up that it's looking at my E drive, which is a USB jump drive that's plugged into my computer. I'm just going to look at one. I know that these two files make up the yield map that I'm interested in. It could be that the card that you download off of your older yield monitor could have multiple files. These are from an AgLeader Insight, so that's why they're .ilf. Older ones will be a .yld file. I'm going to say finish. And this is the map. So if all I want to do is make some maps, then I can hit here the print button. And there I have a map. And I can save each one of these maps to a PDF file. Just for time, I won't completely name that, but now if I go back out here, here's the exact file that I have for a yield map that I created for that field. So that's no cost, very simple to do that. If I sort of want to take it to the next step, still not cost anything. You'll notice there's a little icon here to launch Yield Editor. And here's Yield Editor. It has a little tutorial. Notice it's got more data. It's got a automated yield cleaning. I can run that. And then what I can do is I can export this data. I usually export the UTM coordinates and then lat long, yield, moisture, clean. And we'll look at how we can look at that. Or if I close out of this, so I X out of this, it asks, do you want to update your map with the edited? So it's seen that and it'll say yes. So I can actually create a new yield map that was cleaned up from there. So if I go here to print again, you notice the min max should have changed as one item there. So that's using that. Should note that we have a text file here. Let's open it up in as an Excel spreadsheet. Give it just a minute. And if I make that to where you can see it, so here's the UTM coordinates, and here's latitude, longitude, yield column, and moisture column. I'll show you how you can then use that to make a map in one way, or what we can do now is use SMS. I come in here, read file, read files from display, and I'm going to look for all AgLeader files, and I'm going to navigate to my E drive. If you remember, that's what we were using. E, and here's my folder, and here's the two files that I'm interested in. Start processing. So it's gathering and then it's processing those two files. So I could process all my files. So this is the easier way to process and use SMS. And then it would already create, and you notice it's the only bolded thing. So that's why I only have a map. I click on grain harvest. It's processing to develop a map, and it'll make me a preview down here. You notice I automatically get a summary. So that's an added thing I get above Field Operations Viewer, is a summary of the information. If I go in here, if I got a copy to do that, it says create map, it will create map. If that's the only thing you can't do if you have not a registered version of this, and then I can print the yield map from here. But if I don't, the other thing I can do at this point in time, if I do a right click, I go down here to export, and I'm going to export a generic file format, and I'm going to do a shape file. And I'm going to navigate to my E drive, to my Elliott folder, test, yield map. So it's exporting that data. And then if I have QGIS, then what I can do is I can layer, add vector layer, browse, and here's this test shapefile. Add, close. So you notice I automatically have, I'm going to close what I've already got in this project. So one step I neglected to say, if I was starting anew, then I would click on this new project. I just want to show you the sort of the basics of the mapping. I double click on that. Instead of single symbol, I want graduated, and I want to pick the column from that shapefile to make, which is yield VOL volume dry, and I go down to my bottom part in my, it's going to do, and I want to click on, let's see if I can make that, I want to click on classify. So it's made a map, it's just in red. Simple thing I can do is do a spectral map, hit apply, OK, and there's a basic yield map. And then the other thing I can do, if I go down here to project, then I can go to, I'm going to go open up a layout I've already created, and I can develop a map and make it a map. And then I can print that as a PDF. Just got to navigate to where I want to keep it. That's saved. If I click on that, then there's my map. So the last thing I'll do, and you can change the colors and stuff, we won't go into the detail of that. I'm going to go in here to new layout, just so you know. So if you go to new map, you just get a blank page. So the first thing I need to do is add item. I need to add a map. Notice I got a crosshair. I'm going to drag a window, and that puts that map in. And then the other thing I need to add is the legend. So I'll go add item, add legend, and that's over here. And it's adding more than one thing, because if I look back out on my view, I've got more than one item to do there. There's a couple other details we won't get into. One of them is the projection to make it look like real life. Then I've chose a projection here in Missouri of NAD 83 zone 15 north to make the map look like it is in more real life than just latitude and longitude with that. So that's a quick way to make some maps. This is a quick short tutorial to get an understanding of how I would do that. Again, the easiest way is to spend money, but if you want to do it free, you've got a couple of alternatives there to free. So in this document I'm putting together, I also have, we go out to the web here. Here's Dr. Adam Chucks from McGill on some lessons, data visualization. There's one here on yield mapping, and then there's some on if you had soil sampling data or such. He's had some students help put this together for QGIS. And then the last thing I'll do with this recording, since I haven't had it, I'm recording it now, so there'll be a link here for I'll post this to YouTube, this video. And I do see one thing I want to change. I'm going to put 3.4, not 3.10. as a version here that you want to download. Save. All right.